I can't tell you how many times I have met someone, became super good friends with them super quickly, and we're over at each other's house all the time and we're hanging out all the time, and it seems like we're just meant to be best friends. We're just meant to be best friends. And then something happens and the friendship ends almost as quickly as it started. Not every relationship is meant to go from season to season. Not every person in the novel of your life is meant to make it to the next chapter. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Felicia and this is The Feminine Fancy. I am obsessed with this little workout jacket. Kane got it for me and I wear it all the time. It's so cute. I'll link it down below. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is one that I truly hope is going to help so many of you understand your friendships better. And I say that because all of the things I'm going to talk about today are revelations that I have had over the last 3 years. But last year I made a video called The Myth of Female Friendships, and it ended up going pretty viral, which I obviously didn't expect. You never know what is going to resonate with people. That video resonated a lot with a lot of people, and I read so many stories in the comments of that video that people were telling about their own experiences with friendships and how difficult it's been. And it was really heartwarming to see everyone who had similar experiences to me just kind of talk about it. And I think that video really gave people a space to air their grievances and talk about some of the things they've been dealing with silently. I've never really followed up too much on that video. I did one more friendship video, but I wanted to follow up on that a little bit in today's video, and I just want to talk about some of the things that we should all know about our friends and about our friendships to avoid heartbreak and to avoid feeling misunderstood, to avoid so much. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you are new here, hi, hello, my name is Felicia. I make content on femininity, womanhood, lifestyle, hosting, homemaking. It just runs the gamut. So if you're interested in that, then please consider hitting the red subscribe button. And if you're not new, thank you for coming back. Also hit the like button. Let's try to get this video to 1,000 likes. That really helps me in the algorithm. And if you like the content, then why wouldn't you put the like button? It just makes sense. Okay, so let's jump into it. The first thing I want to talk about is actually I saw a video recently where someone was kind of insinuating that you can't talk about feminine energy or femininity if you also struggle with female friends, or if you also don't have any female friends. And I understand what the creator was trying to say. It's kind of how are you talking about being so feminine if you don't even have any girlfriends? And I get it, but at the same time, it's some of us, based on our environment, based on how we grew up, where we grew up, the culture that we were around, some of us had a difficult time making friends, and it wasn't always easy. For example, myself, I grew up in a very predominantly white neighborhood. I went to predominantly white schools my entire life. My dance studio, everything I did was predominantly white. So I always felt very ostracized, and it was hard for me to make friends, a lot of friends. I would have one or two here or there, but I was never someone who had a lot of friends. So I want you to know that if you have trouble making friends, and if it's something that it just doesn't come naturally to you, or you get really nervous around people, do not feel that that means that you have any less feminine energy, or that you're any less of a feminine woman or a girl. We all have different experiences, and just because this is an area of your life that maybe hasn't been the easiest, that doesn't mean that you are not feminine. That doesn't mean that you can't that you don't love other women, that you don't celebrate other women. I just think that that's kind of a misconception, and I just wanted to encourage you that if it is something you have a difficult time with, don't feel like that just automatically takes you out of the running for being a feminine woman, because it definitely does not. But I think that the tips that I'm going to share in today's video and what we're going to talk about is going to be really enlightening and really helpful, because it's been super helpful for me as I have come to understand my friendships a lot better. So the first thing you absolutely have to know is that not every friend falls in the best friend category. I remember growing up, my mom was always why, I would always say oh, this girl's my best friend. I would, get close with someone and be oh yeah, she's my best friend. And my mom, she's from Panama, her culture is different. She'd be what is this best friend thing? What do you mean your best friend? It was something that culturally she just didn't understand. And as I got older, I came to realize that not everyone that you have a good interaction with, or that you hang out with a few times, or even that you spend a lot of time with, is your best friend. And not everyone falls into that category. When it comes to friendships, I think it's important to know that like you have different friends for different things. Like your friends, they fall in different categories. And if you're anything like me, it's been very like historically, I would always be like, oh, you know, this person and I, we jive really well, we're having a good time, like this is now like my best friend, or this is like a really, really good friend. But not every friend falls into that like we're super close category. Actually thinking about the ways in which I have come to like categorize my friends now, and I think the way that it goes is kind of something like true friends, you know, good friends, and then nostalgic friends, like friends who you can talk about like your past with, and you can have a good laugh talking about your history. And then slow burn friendships, we're gonna talk about this later. Fast friends, and then like acquaintances. And I think it's important to know that like not every friend falls in that true friend, good friend category. Some friends are fast friendships, some friends are acquaintances, co-workers. And so it's just important to know for yourself, because you'll end up preventing a lot of heartache for yourself. If you're like me, what could end up happening sometimes is like you put true friend and best friend expectations on someone who's a fast friend or someone who's an acquaintance or a coworker, and when they don't rise to that expectation, you're like, well, what the heck? I thought we were friends. And so you kind of have to analyze your friendships and look at them for like what they are, not what you hope that they are, and see like, okay, what do I get out of this friendship? What do we do for each other, and where does that like fall within my life? Is this the friend that I'm going to call at 3 o'clock in the morning if there's an emergency? Analyzing your friends and understanding that like different people fall into different categories is going to help you so much, because not every friend is for everything. Not every friend is meant to be that 3 a.m. friend. Some friends are just people that you hang out with. Some people you go out to grab a drink with. Some friends are, you know, people that you've known for a really long time, and like the only thing you have in common is the fact that you've known them for a very long time. The people in your life, they fall into different categories, and understanding and analyzing who belongs in what category is going to help you a lot to not put pressure and expectations on every single relationship and friendship that you have and that you start. The next thing I want to talk about is loyalty, okay? Because if you would have asked me like, oh, is loyalty really important to you in a friendship? I would have been like, what are you talking about? What are we, in the mafia? I've had like a few things come up recently, and I know this is a wine tumbler, but there's just water in here. I've had a few things come up in the last few years where I realized that loyalty is actually super important to me as in a friendship. And you know, there have been certain situations where I've literally transformed into like Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, where I'm like, where does your loyalty lie? And you have to understand, not everyone is as loyal as you are. Not everyone values the friendship, the relationship that you've created as much as you do. And that's really helped me figure out a lot of stuff in my life, because it helps me get a clearer vision, a clearer picture of how that person views me in their life. And when I say loyalty, I'm not saying that like they only have to hang out with me, they can't have any other friends, and you know, nothing like that, nothing crazy. I've been in scenarios where I've had really, really close friends question my character, and I just had to be like, what do you mean? Like, you've known me, we've known each other for this many years, and you're like questioning, if you really feel that way about me, then you must not really know me as well as I thought you did. So that's kind of what I'm talking about more so with loyalty. I'm not saying that like people can't have multiple friends. Of course you can. There is an element in your friendships of loyalty and of knowing like, yeah, this person's got my back and I'm gonna have their back, and not in a toxic way, but in a way that, in a respectful way. Again, and I said it in that first video, people think that your friendship is just this like la-di-da-di-da thing, which some of them are, but like your true friendships, your best friends, people just expect it to be like, woohoo, we're just having a good time. But conflicts arise, things happen, and there has to be that understanding of, okay, how do we navigate this? Where is our loyalty here? Is it to each other? Is it to other people? What are we doing here? And I think it's just important to know that like sometimes your loyalty might lie with your friend, with your good friend, but theirs might lie somewhere else. And that's just something that I've had to navigate and understand as I have gotten older and as I've expanded my understanding of friendships in general. Next thing I want to talk about is slow burn friendships versus fast friendships. friendships. I have had experiences with both of these, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by slow burn and fast friendships. And then I'm gonna explain like how I've come to understand why, like where each of these people fit in my life. So let's rewind. I recently received a wedding invitation to a wedding that I am so excited to go to, but I was shocked to receive the wedding invitation. The invitation came from a good friend of mine who we've known each other since freshman year in high school. We danced together, we were on dance team together. I dated her best friend at one point. Like, we've known each other for a very long time. Our friendship has really had this like slow burn where we've never been like inseparable, and we've never called each other on the phone every day. And after high school, she went off and she moved away for college, and I stayed local for college, and then she moved across the country. But within that, within her not being around and us not talking as much, she still made the effort that every time she came back home and every time she was in town, she would reach out to me and say, hey, do you want to grab dinner? Do you want to do something? And I don't know why, but for some reason I just thought like, I thought she was just being like nice. Like I didn't realize, it didn't occur to me until I got that wedding invitation. It did not occur to me that she held our friendship in such high esteem, and that this was really a slow burn friendship. It wasn't something that happened instantaneously. There wasn't one event that bonded us. We just enjoy each other's company, and we make each other laugh, and we have a good time. Would I say she's like my absolute best friend? No. I respect her, and I value her, and she respects and values me. And when I got that, well, it was actually a save the date. When I got the save the date, everything clicked for me in that moment, and I was like, oh, we're actually friends. And this friendship may not have been a fast friendship, but it has sustained over the course of 15 years. And when I sat back and I thought about that, I was like, oh shoot. This is a really good friend of mine. Like, this is someone I really care about. And the reason why I think I had trouble understanding that is because I have always veered towards these fast friendships. And let me tell you something. Fast friendships will get you in trouble. No, I don't want to scare you. But like, I can't tell you how many times I have met someone, became super good friends with them super quickly, and we're over at each other's house all the time, and we're hanging out all the time, and it seems like we're just meant to be best friends. We're just meant to be best friends. And then something happens and the friendship ends almost as quickly as it started. I think for me, when I vibe with someone really well, really quickly, I used to I used to take that as a sign of, oh, we're like really good, we're close, like we get each other, we understand, we're texting all the time, we're having a good time. But the thing that those friendships often lack is substance. And that is something that you kind of need in your good friendships. Not in your superficial friendships, you don't really need any substance. But in your good friendships, in your true friendships, you do need substance. And what would end up happening is I would get super close with these people, we'd be best friends, we'd be hanging out all the time, we'd be going on trips and doing all these things. And then the minute there was any ounce of conflict, it was like, I'm done. Like, that person would be like, I'm done. I would be left so dazed and confused every single time. I have so many stories I could tell about this. Here's a perfect example of a fast friendship. When I was in college, I met this girl and we sat next to each other in class, and we just kind of like really riffed off of each other. Like, you guys know, I mean, I don't know, you don't know because you've never been in conversation with me, but I'm in conversation with someone and we're like vibing. It's like very quick, it's very witty, it's very like timed. That's kind of how I am in conversation. So there was this girl and we kind of started talking and we kind of started going, you know, like that. Automatically, we just started hanging out. We like became friends, and we would, you know, carpool to school together, we would take the train together, we would hang out at lunch, and then eventually we started going out at night together. Like, we would go out and go to the bars and like meet people. And all the while she had this boyfriend, and she said he was like older than her. I think he was older by like 8 years or something like that. And I don't know how she met him, I don't know anything about their relationship, but she had this boyfriend. And one night, my parents were going out of town, and so I invited her over. I said, hey, we can like go out, we can have a great night, and then you can spend the night at my house and it'll be fun. She's like, yeah, that sounds great. She gets to my house and she's on the phone the whole time. And I'm like, what's going on? And her boyfriend in the process of breaking up with her over the phone. They were in a long distance relationship. So he's breaking up with her and she is just panicked. Like, she's panicking, she's pacing back and forth, she's outside on my front porch on the phone talking to this guy and trying to figure it out. I hear her like begging him not to do this. It was rough. After they got off the phone, it had been like a few hours, and after they got off the phone, like maybe 3 hours I want to say, after they got off the phone, she came back into the house and she was like, I have to go, like I need to leave, I have to go. And I was like, no. I was like, no, you don't have to go, like we don't have to go out, let's just stay here, let's watch movies, let's drink some wine, like let's talk. And she was not having it. She was like, no, I have to go, like I need to get out of here. And I was like, okay, fine, like whatever. She calls an Uber, she goes home. The following day and all of the days after that, she never spoke to me again. Homegirl acted like I did not exist in class. She didn't talk to me, she didn't text me. It was the strangest thing I've ever experienced. And I was just like, I don't know what, maybe she was embarrassed, but she never spoke to me again. And she had come to like my house, she had come to my graduation party, like it was crazy. So that's just one example of like a fast friendship where you're really close really fast, and then something happens and they don't talk to you again. And this is not the first or only time that something like that has happened to me, where we become really close, everything's goody, and then something happens and they've dipped. What I've learned from those situations is that a lot of times someone who's a fast friend, they're coming into your life because they want something from you. And I don't know what that is. You never know what it is. In one case, it could be access to information. It could be access to people. It could be access to experiences. You don't know what it might be, but those fast friendships are often friends who come in and they need something from you. They want something from you. And the minute you don't give them that anymore, or you can't give them that anymore, that's when the relationship will fall apart. And that's when they're like, oh, well, this isn't serving me, or this isn't like, you know, a good friendship for me anymore, so I don't really need to be here. And that's something that I would just like encourage you to really look out for, because it's something that has like hurt me in the past so many times. Because I don't look at people and think like, oh yeah, they're coming into my life so that they can, you know, they can learn about pageants or borrow all my clothes and like then never talk to me again. I don't think like that. So it's always a shock to me when, or it used to be such a shock to me when I would have these relationships, I would have these fast friendships, I would think that these people were gonna be in my life for a long time, and then they weren't. Truly, like, be careful with the fast friendships. We've seen a couple instances lately of fast friendships, or, you know, friendships in general, just ending in like fatalities, truly ruining people's lives, ending people's lives, because not everyone has your best interest at heart, and people do come into your life for what they can get from you and for what you can do for them. So be wary of that. Be cognizant, be aware, use your intuition. And, you know, if you're getting a weird vibe from someone, don't ignore it. That's another thing I want to mention. A couple friends that I've had in the past, my family and my other like best friends have been like, I don't know about that person. After the friendship ended with the girl that I knew from pageants, literally everyone in my life was like, yeah, we knew that she was just using you because you're good at pageants and because like she wanted to learn from you. Like, we knew that this was gonna happen. And I was like, what? To be fair, a lot of them did tell me, they were like, vibes are off, the vibes are off. Or like my mom, if my mom or my brother said like, I don't know, the vibes are just off. But I could never see it. So if people around you are saying that the vibes are off about someone, listen to them. Please listen to them, because they know what they're talking about. They see things, they feel things that you can't see and feel if you're like me and you just kind of see the best in everybody. Listen to your family, listen to your friends, the ones who you know have your best interest, the ones who you've known for a long time, who understand you, yada yada. Listen to them when they're saying like, I don't know about this person, because oftentimes they are right. And you will find out that they were right later on. Finally, the last thing that I want to leave you with, that I want you to understand about your friendships, is that sometimes, a lot of times, your friend will have and does have a better friend. So again, this is like something I've had to come to understand. I've had to come to terms with the fact that I might consider someone my best friend, they might consider someone else their best friend. And that's okay. Like, not everything is going to be that perfect symbiotic, like, best friend relationship where you call them every day and they call you every day. And sometimes, even if you do have that, it might only last for a season. I have a friend who We used to talk on the phone every single day. Every single day we used to talk on the phone. And now I'm lucky if I hear from her once every 2 weeks. Sometimes your friendships shift, and the closeness with which you had, the intensity that you had in your friendship changes. Your best friend, that person that you're talking to every day, they could also have a better friend. And you know, try not to take it as like a personal slight on you as a friend. Just because your best friend has a better friend doesn't mean that you guys aren't still close. Friendships are tricky. Friendships are relationships, and they are tricky, much like everything in life is tricky. Like, there's no one answer for everything. There's no one solution for everything. There's no saying, you know, that all friendships are like this, or all women who, you know, have trouble with friendships are like this. Like, there's no generalizing. Everyone is different. Everyone's experiences are different. So be gentle with yourself and do your best to put yourself in situations where you can meet new friends if you're struggling with that, or you can, you know, foster those slow burn friendships, those friends who you hear from every once in a while and you have a good relationship. How can you foster those relationships and those friendships? And it's really beautiful because that friend I was talking about earlier who invited us to her wedding, even though our friendship wasn't like fast and strong and traveling together and doing this and talking on the phone every day, even though it wasn't like that, it has matured so much better than some of my friendships that started that way. It's matured into something beautiful, and I would have never seen that coming because I was always so focused on those friendships that were just like quick and fast and fun. And those are fine too, and they have a place, and you can look back on those experiences and those friends with love and with care and with understanding that they were in your life for a specific season. But not every relationship is meant to go from season to season. Not every person in the novel of your life is meant to make it to the next chapter. Understand that, know that, and be okay with, you know, with losing a couple friends, with gaining some new friends, and just be open to life and be open to meeting new people, knowing that they serve a specific purpose in your life, and that might not last forever, but that's okay, and it's still beautiful, and it's still a wonderful part of the human experience. So I know this video was all over the place. Hopefully I made some sense. And if you want any advice about your friendships and your friend relationships, leave a comment down below. You can also always DM me on Instagram. I actually get quite a few DMs. Like I kind of get a lot of DMs, so it's hard to keep up sometimes, but message me a DM if you have a question, or leave a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you and help you out, because this whole theme of friendship has been in my orbit for quite a while, like quite some time. So I feel like I've had a lot of time to think about it, to journal about it, to understand it more. And yeah, I just wanted to impart some of that understanding and wisdom to you guys. So I hope that it helped. You can find me on Instagram at _thefemininefancy_. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, do all the things, share it with a friend, share it with whoever needs to see it. And you can also find me on my blog at thefemininefancy.com. I love you guys so much. I will see you in my next video. Bye.